It was supposed to be one of the happiest nights of his career. The lights were bright, the applause thunderous, and Jamie Dornan stood on stage smiling, a picture of confidence, charm, and grace. But behind that smile, something was breaking. The event was a star-studded charity gala in London, filled with laughter, champagne, and admiration for the man who had long been known as one of Hollywood's most private yet beloved actors. Jamie was there to receive a humanitarian award, recognition for his quiet work supporting mental health initiatives around the world. He stepped up to the microphone, his voice calm at first. "Thank you," he began, his familiar Irish accent warm and steady. "I've been lucky to live a life filled with art, love, and people who've supported me." The crowd cheered, photographers flashed, and he smiled, but only for a second. Then his tone shifted. He took a deep breath, lowering his gaze. His voice wavered as he continued, "But lately, I've been reminded that no matter how strong we appear, we're all fragile. And sometimes, life takes away what we love most." The audience fell silent. A few whispers rippled through the crowd as Jamie's eyes grew glossy. His hand tightened around the microphone. He tried to continue, but the words caught in his throat. I wasn't sure if I should say this tonight," he whispered, pausing for a long moment, "but I can't hide it anymore." Every camera zoomed in. His breathing grew heavier, his jaw trembling as he tried to steady himself. And then, with tears filling his eyes, he spoke the words that would echo across the world. "I've lost someone I loved deeply, and I don't know how to move forward." Gasps filled the room. The crowd froze. Some believed he was talking about a family member. Others thought it was something even more personal. His closest friends in the front row looked on in disbelief, unsure whether to approach him or give him space. Jamie pressed a hand to his face, visibly fighting back tears. "Grief doesn't care who you are," he said hoarsely. "It doesn't care about fame or fortune. It just stays." He tried to continue his speech, but his voice broke completely. The microphone slipped slightly from his hand, and he stumbled backward. A few attendees rushed to his side as he collapsed to his knees, still whispering something no one could quite hear. The host quickly moved forward, signaling for medics as security cleared the area. The live feed was cut almost instantly, but not before thousands watching online saw the moment Jamie Dornan, the man known for his composure, fell apart in front of the world. Within minutes, the video spread across social media. Twitter exploded with the hashtag Pray for Jamie Dornan, and fans from around the globe expressed concern and heartbreak. Clips of his trembling voice and final words before collapsing flooded every platform. "He looked broken," one attendee told People magazine. "You could feel his pain through every word. That wasn't acting, that was real." By midnight, major outlets were covering the story. Headlines read, "Jamie Dornan breaks down mid-speech, fans in tears." "Heartbreaking. Jamie Dornan collapses after emotional revelation." No one knew exactly who he had lost, or what tragedy had driven him to that breaking point, but one thing was clear. The world had just witnessed one of the most vulnerable moments in his life. Videos from fans showed Jamie being escorted backstage, his face pale but his expression distant, the look of a man carrying a weight far too heavy for the spotlight. A friend later told reporters, "He's been struggling for months, but he's kept it hidden. He didn't want anyone to worry. Tonight, it just came crashing down." And indeed, it did. Because even though Jamie Dornan had built a reputation as one of the most composed and grounded actors of his generation, that night reminded everyone that even the strongest hearts can break. And sometimes, the hardest collapse isn't physical at all, it's emotional. The world waited for updates as fans continued to flood social media with prayers and love. But what Jamie revealed next, once he recovered, would make the entire story even more heartbreaking. In the hours that followed Jamie Dornan's collapse, the world held its breath. The footage from the gala had gone viral. Millions of people had seen the moment he fell to his knees, trembling, his voice breaking under the weight of grief. For a while, no one knew what had truly happened. Fans flooded social media with concern, journalists reached out to his representatives, and fellow actors sent messages of support. Then, just before dawn, Jamie's publicist released a short statement. Jamie Dornan is currently resting after suffering an emotional breakdown during a charity event. He had been privately dealing with personal loss and chose to share it publicly. He is surrounded by close family and friends. It was brief, but it said everything. By morning, tributes from across Hollywood poured in. Stars from every corner of the industry shared messages filled with empathy. Dakota Johnson, his longtime friend and former co-star, posted a black and white photo of a sunrise with the caption, "Some hearts carry more than we'll ever know. Sending love." That post alone gathered millions of likes. Fans understood exactly what she meant. But it wasn't until Jamie himself released a statement, 2 days later, that the world finally learned the truth. Sitting in a dimly lit room, looking tired but composed, he recorded a short video message for his followers. His voice was soft, but steady. "I didn't plan to speak that night," he began. "But sometimes, pain forces its way out. I lost someone very close to me, a person who grounded me when life got too loud." He paused, his eyes glistening. "I thought I could carry that grief quietly. But I couldn't." The internet fell silent. It turned out that Jamie had recently lost a close childhood friend, someone who had been with him long before fame, long before the cameras, long before Hollywood. The friend's passing had come suddenly, unexpectedly, leaving Jamie shattered. For months, he had continued working, smiling through interviews, attending premieres, hiding behind that same calm composure fans had always admired. But the truth was, he was barely holding on. That night at the gala, he had decided to dedicate his award to that friend, and in doing so, every emotion he had buried came flooding back. In the video, Jamie continued, "We talk a lot about success, about strength, about appearances. But grief doesn't care about any of that. It humbles you. It reminds you that we're all human." Fans from around the world began sharing their own stories of loss, turning the comments section into a sea of compassion and understanding. Hashtags like #StayStrongJamie, #YouAreNotAlone, and #MentalHealthMatters trended globally. Even major publications shifted their tone. What began as tabloid frenzy turned into a movement of empathy. The Guardian wrote, "Jamie Dornan's collapse has opened an unexpected conversation about emotional honesty in Hollywood, and the courage it takes to show vulnerability in public." And perhaps that was the real power of the moment, not in the shock of his fall, but in what followed: honesty, connection, and healing. Days later, Jamie was seen leaving his home for the first time, accompanied by his wife, Amelia Warner. They walked hand in hand, smiling faintly as cameras flashed from a distance. It wasn't a performance. It was quiet strength, the kind that comes from surviving heartbreak. In a heartfelt note shared online, Jamie wrote, "Grief changes you, but if there's one thing I've learned, it's that love never leaves. It just takes a different shape. To everyone who's sent messages, thank you. You've reminded me that even in pain, there's light." That message was shared more than 5 million times in just 24 hours. Fans called it the most genuine thing Hollywood has seen in years. And though Jamie returned to work weeks later, something about him had changed. He smiled differently now, softer, more real. He spoke about his projects with more purpose, and when asked about the incident, he simply said, "That night broke me, but it also reminded me who I am." His words resonated deeply, especially in an industry built on perfection. Because for the first time, people weren't just seeing Jamie Dornan the actor. They were seeing Jamie Dornan the man. Flawed, fragile, but endlessly human. By the end of the month, the same stage where he had collapsed invited him back, not to perform, not to promote, but to speak. This time, he stood taller, his voice steady, his eyes calm. He ended his short speech with a line that silenced the entire room. "The strongest thing you can do isn't to hide your pain, it's to feel it and still keep going." And when he stepped down from the stage, there were no flashes, No noise, just a standing ovation. Because sometimes, the moments that break us are the ones that show the world our truest selves.